Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and AMD at CES here, 2024 had some a little bit of announcements, right? They had focusing on AI again, right? Everything is with AI. But getting into some of the interesting stuff is that they introduced some new AM4 chips already. So they had like the 5700X3D, a little bit slower than the 5800, and that I think we'll get into the price here a little bit. They also had a 5700, and then they also introduced the 5600 GT and a 5500 GT APUs. And so the 5500 and the 5600, they're going to be, under $150. So, if you are looking for to get into a gaming machine, or, and I say gaming as, entry level, get some, GPUs, you just want to get in, maybe it's your first system, whatever else, you don't have a ton of money that you want to spend, especially in an economy like this. These are actually pretty good options, right? You got 6 Tor, 12 threads, you got Radeon graphics built in, and they're 65-watt TDP. So I think that, it looks like the 5500 is pretty close to the 50, or 5500 GT is pretty close to the 5600 G, or according to A&B slides, and the 5600 looks to be a little bit better than that. So that's just something to keep in mind there. I think that's what they were kind of saying on their slides. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good like little deal for 150 bucks. You want to get into it, you get like a $70 motherboard or something, get some RAM. You can be off to the races with a pretty reasonable side. And AMD also announced the 7600 XT 16 gig GPU. That's just something to put out there. Kind of increasing the VRAM for competing with um, competing with NVIDIA, kind of some of the stuff they said. The 5600 or the 5700 X3D, that is going to be 250 bucks around there. So again, let's say with the, you got the 5700, which kind of looks to be an 8-core 16 thread, looks to be kind of maybe 65 watt, $175 roughly. That's going to be, it almost looks like one of their G processors without the graphics part. And the 5700 X3D looks like they're going to be, it's just a 5800 that can't be clocked as fast. And these are all going to be available the 31st. Now, AM4 having this longevity, pretty impressive here. We're still getting new processors. This has to be one of the longest generations of processors I've ever seen on a motherboard platform, which kudos to AMD to continue to put that out there and continue to have options for people that want to buy into that platform. I know that I was on Amazon looking at the top selling processors. A lot of them are still that AM4 platform. Now you get a few more options on the AM4 platform, especially if you, let's say you jump in and you get a 5600 or 5500 GT. You get in, you start gaming, you like it, and you continue to game and you're enjoying it. You upgrade to maybe a better GPU, and then you're still liking it, and now you're saying, hey, I want a X3D processor, get some of the best gaming on that platform. I think that this is a great option for people out there that are, just jumping into a platform, starting a game. Not hard, or it's very hard to argue against somebody even going in and doing that, especially with the lower cost to entry for a lot of these processors. So kudos to AMD to actually getting that out there. Something I'm interested in too is the G series, so 8000 G series AMD Hawk Point desktop APUs. I like this a lot. The 8700G is going to be about what, 329, and then you're going to have the 8600G at 229 and the 8500G at 179. There's also an 8300G as well. But that's going to be more for OEMs, and so if you're OEM, you have the luxury of doing that. The 8500G and the 8400G is a combination of Zen 4 and Zen 4C cores. Yeah, the 84, or was it 84 or 8300, my bad. The 8300G is for system builders. That's going to be partner systems, a combination of Zen 4 and Zen 4C. And then the 8500, which is going to be also a combination there. All 65 watts. You're going to have the 8700 is going to have the 780M GPU on it, and these are also going to have Ryzen AI as well. They're calling them with Ryzen AI for the top two G parts. I don't know if that's just going to be what they're going to have the AI chip. I guess they will have the AI NPU with 1.6 gigahertz on that. So that's pretty cool. If you want to try that out, hopefully, there's more out there for this. I'm almost thinking about doing maybe a little build with one of these, upgrading, maybe using ITX board 8700G for my little Plex system, my little home little server here. Might not be a bad option. If you guys do have a board in mind for that, or when you're looking at an ITX, I'm probably going to be looking at a B650, someplace in there. Leave it in the comments below. I'll definitely take a look at which one, if I do decide to go that route and upgrade that system. So then if people want to have a review of it, BIOS, everything else, I'll go through that, walk through, and all that stuff. But getting back to the 8700G, looks like we're going to have RDNA 3 graphics finally on a system, no longer the Vega stuff. You're going to finally get that jump into that side of things. You got the APU and NPU here on the 8000 series, so that's finally incorporated. And if you get to the Ryzen 8500G, right, that has 4 Zen 4 C cores, and then 2 Zen 4 cores. If that's something that you just want to jump into entry, right, you got a stack here between $180 to $330 for that, jumping in and getting yourself with a system. Let's say you're going to want to do some light gaming, or even with FSR and stuff, and those technologies, start in and getting gaming. A nice little entry into the platform here by AMD, and I have to say they did I kind of like this, rev here to get people into the platform, and I think that this is actually going to help the AM5 platform take off a little bit more. Right now the AM5 platform is a lot of high-end stuff. There's not, a little bit of mid-range, but you still have to buy a GPU. Those are not cheap overall. Here you go, for, let's say you get the 8500G, you get the 740M graphics card. Granted, you won't get the NPU, the XDNA side stuff, but you'll have probably some AI stuff on there with the graphics card and CPU driven, not their XDNA engine. But you have some of the you have an entry into gaming a little bit, right? If you jump up to the 8600, that's going to be a price of $229. So you go $229, let's say $180 a motherboard, or $230. So $400, plus some memory, probably $500, $600. You get, SSD if you're bringing that over, whatever else, still a little bit maybe higher barrier to entry than going back to AM4, but at least you're starting to get, hey, you don't need the GPU, you don't need to buy this other stuff, and you get in there. AMD did mention that this is, they're providing more entry points for gaming. I almost took that as, yeah, these are cheap. Maybe you're talking about your AM4 platform, but also I think a big aspect to this is the handhelds and getting those in the hand of people to do gaming. Steam Deck, what is it, like $400 to get somebody's, start gaming there? That's not a bad option, right? If that's something you're looking at to get in there, and AMD's APUs are, part of that. So, with the 5000 series and getting some, extra chips there for, longevity, then you have these 8000 series, which, are helping AMD expand that AM5 platform. And that's one of the big things, I think, what AM4 kind of took off. And I really hope that Intel kind of takes this to heart too, is that even though the platform is, a while, AMD still has some of these chips that didn't been at, the 5800X3D, but let's make them into another chip and let's get them out there into consumers' hands. And that's going to keep the platform around a little bit longer, but it also gives people an opportunity to jump into a platform that maybe we're thinking, well, this platform's already dead, or I see a potential path to be able to get into gaming, to get into that PC gaming part of things that wasn't possible before because of the longevity of platform and because it's so well supported, and the price actually makes sense. So that's a little bit about AMD CES items. You had a little bit of, some CPU announcements here. I know I'm waiting for, to see where Zen 5 kind of lines up, where Intel has their processors later this year, hopefully. But we'll see. Intel, I think, has their announcements. We'll see what that is here soon. I don't know how I'll get NVIDIA's and AMD's announcements out. Maybe I'll drop them both today. Well, probably one today, one tomorrow. But this is I like to see stuff like this, right? More processors announced. I like to see products, even with NVIDIA stuff, new products announcements. Now the prices are not exactly where I like the prices, but I like to see new products announced, and I just hope that prices would get better. You know, I I want to say that for the 5700G, I paid roughly around $300 too. So I'm actually kind of glad that AMD stuck with that price a little bit. I'm actually curious to see how well this runs in my little Plex if I do decide to upgrade. Am I right? For me, it's just going to be DDR5, which should help the iGPU a lot, and then, or the Radeon, 700M a lot, and then you also have the motherboard and CPU. That's all I'd be swapping out, and still using same SSDs and drives and case. So I'll have an extra board lying around. Probably have to do something with that. Then maybe another little mini build or something. So thanks so much. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of AMD's CES announcement. And until next time, thank you so much for supporting Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. Thank you for like, share, subscribe, hitting the bell icon. That really does help out the channel. And until next time, God bless.